Hello students, how are you all doing? I'm hoping that after facing what was probably one of the toughest general studies paper that UPSC has ever set, you would have taken a small break, spent some time with your near and dear ones, your friends and family, your loved ones, right? As challenging as these times might feel right now, they are also very clarifying in a way because you get to know who are the people who are going to stand by you through your thick and thin. Who are the people who are your pillars of strength and who are your fair weather friends, right? These are the people whom you are going to cherish all your life after you have cleared this exam, right? So generally when we meet, we are there to study something, right? We are there to see one part of the syllabus or the other. Today we are not going to study anything. What we are going to do is we are going to take an honest and direct look at the whole syllabus, the whole preparation strategy, the whole preparation journey itself. All right. Now, why this session is organized is basically there has been a radical change in UPSC pattern, right? Now, after every big change, it is seen that it persists for a few years, right? So we have to get prepared for the next year. In that regard, what we are going to do is we are going to look at the prelims changes and the changes that have happened in this particular year's paper and how we can better prepare ourselves going forward, right? Now, generally speaking, if you look at a particular year's prelims paper, especially of the last 10 to 15 years, what you are going to see is that there was quite a bit of focus on conceptual clarity, right? Now, the change that has happened in this year's paper is that on one hand, it is asking you to have an in-depth knowledge, right? In-depth knowledge, almost mains level knowledge about many things, right? Mains level analytical ability, while also asking you to have great comprehension skills, right? And with all of these things, it is also asking or expecting you to have in-depth factual knowledge about many of the current affairs aspects, right? So how do you organize all of these things and make a good strategy out of it? So if you look at this particular paper, there are very important areas that we can focus on. First of all, the most important thing that I can tell you is that it is now using the boundary between static and dynamic part, right? So there is no static now, there is no dynamic now. Static portion, all the important books that you will have to do anyway, right? You can't understand monsoon without understanding the physical geography part of it, right? You cannot understand questions regarding, say, for example, science and tech without having a good understanding of the principles, the technology behind it, right? Or the science behind it. So you will have to do that static part well. But now you will have to also go one step ahead. So you cannot do in any way, shape or form a very passive learning now, right? Passive learning is you are reading something out of it, you are trying to retain it and you are producing it in front of the people, right? That you cannot do. You will have to actively engage with it, especially how? So as you are reading your newspapers, you will have to actively engage with it, right? Now, the next important thing that has happened is that a lot of mains elements have come about, right? In the type of questions that they are asking, and especially the ethics element that has come about, right? So this means that now your prelims and mains examination preparation is also going to come together, right? Whenever we are talking about these particular exams, we are taking it in silos. Okay, so prelims is going to be much more factual because MCQs are being asked. Now, before the MCQ comes in front of you, there is a half a page of question that you are seeing, right? So in that way, you will have to have a good knowledge about things, but also incorporate the current affairs elements in them, right? Now, as you are looking at this, especially because we are on an English channel, so I can tell you that English is increasingly becoming very important. English comprehension skill, English vocabulary skill is increasingly becoming very important. Now, Drishti has always catered to both the languages, right? But it is an unfortunate development that you can see that English is becoming very dominant in this particular exam, right? and specifically if you are giving it in English medium, this paper, right, you will have to gain good knowledge about especially the comprehension element and some of the vocabulary elements, right. This is a very, very important development, and increasingly the trend is showing in that particular direction only, right. So what are some of the important things that we can gain out of this particular change? So first of all, the only way, right, the only way you are going to deal with this particular thing is that now you cannot separately study for prelims and mains, especially in the earlier months, right. So we generally used to say that from after the prelims, if you are clearing, then that is well and good, but after the prelims you focus mainly on mains, right. Now you cannot do it, unfortunately. You will have to take both elements together now, right? You will have to get good conceptual clarity, but also incorporate factual elements in them, right? So when you are making your notes, there will be as much time given to the conceptual element, to the analysis part, as to the factual elements. That generally not used to be the case and earlier, because we focus mostly on the analytical element in case of mains exam preparations, right? Now the next part is that when you are talking about any question that you are seeing, especially the new type of questions that you are seeing, they are asking you to interpret facts, right? So there will be three statements. Now those three statements, you do not have to say whether one is correct, one is wrong. They are asking you to interpret whether one is supporting the other, right? So they are asking you to interpret the facts themselves, right? This is a very new type of paper that they are asking, right? This is a very new type of question that they are framing. If going forward that is going to be the focus, you will also have to have a good understanding about the facts. Of course that is required, but also see how different facts are interacting with each other, right? If this happens, so whether this will happen or not, right? This becomes a very logical reasoning kind of aspect that has been included. So CSAT is also included here, right? And logical reasoning is also coming together, mains is also coming together. All the different elements that we used to study in silos are coming together in one paper itself, right? Though this is a very, very important change that has happened, and we will have to change with it, right? We will have to adapt if we have to take it forward, right? Now, what are some of the focus areas that you can do? So if you look at the new approach that we think you should follow, regardless of the fact that you are our students or you are generally just preparing it, you cannot leave newspaper, right? There are some suggestions from very responsible people that newspapers are not as important. In our humble opinion, we think that newspapers are really important, and they are increasingly going to become even more important, especially not just newspaper alone, but if you are focusing on the newspaper as well as the PIB sources, right? So when we are looking at the different questions and the answers, we were searching for right answers. Many a times we were ending at the PIB, right? So now it becomes a very important element of our preparation, that newspaper reading as well as PIB. Newspaper would do one more thing for you. It will increase your comprehension skill. It will increase your vocabulary. It will increase the numbers that you are going to get in mains exam, because after all there is a 3000 word article. You will have to summarize it in 100 words, right, for you to able to retain it, right? So in that regard, it will also give you good comprehension skills, and PIB will give you very important facts for your prelims, right? Newspaper plus PIB becomes really crucial here. Okay. Next, when we are looking at your concepts, so you will have to focus on both the factual as well as conceptual, even those topics that are mostly related to mains, right? Many of the questions in many subjects, they are asking where they are connecting two different topics, two different subjects altogether. So the exam is becoming more and more interdisciplinary, right? As the exam is becoming more and more interdisciplinary, your thinking has to become more interdisciplinary, and that is in a way what is required for a good administrator also, right? So you cannot only think about a problem in just say, for example, geographical lens or a historical lens or a economic lens. You have to take a wider view out of it, right? So multidimensional answer has always been the expectation, but generally in mains, now multidimensional questions are being asked in prelims also, right? So your preparation also has to become multidimensional, because they are infusing, say for example, question from economy and geography, right? They are infusing questions from history and, say for example, culture, right? Or culture with respect to economics, right? So they are infusing many different parts of the syllabus together, right? In that way, you can say that they are trying to filter out people who are not as critical thinkers or not as in-depth thinkers in the prelim stage itself, what used to be the focus of the mains, right? In that regard, one more thing is becoming really important, because when we are talking about comprehension and everything, CSAT is now a make or break for many people, right? If you are able to give, I think you should take out time for CSAT in every week, right? It depends on how your preparations are going, right? Even if you are from maths background, even if you are from technical background, you should take out some time for CSAT every week. Not nothing else than just practice a paper, right? And if you are a bit weaker in it, go and focus on this particular area. In this year also, there are people who were somehow able to do well in the GS paper, right? Among the very few people who were confident, and they were doing not as good in CSAT, right? So CSAT is becoming really important, and in that regard, its difficulty level has increased quite a bit, especially from the last 10 years, right? So in that regard, we will have to focus on that. Next is, whenever you are looking at any of these sections, what you should always do is not look at them in a particular way. Say for example, okay, has UPSC asked any particular question or not? Like that is what we do when we are looking at PYQ, right? PYQ is giving you a theme of a particular paper, right? Okay, these are the themes that have been asked, right? So from that theme, other things also can be asked, right? So just don't look at the main thing that has been asked, but also what are the themes that they are covering, right? So thematic based PYQ analysis becomes really important now, right? Because in this year also there are some themes that have been common, right? That have been very importantly asked in other papers also, right? In different other exams of UPSC also, right? So these are very important aspects that we see that the change is happening, right? Now, if you look at the journey going forward, what you will see is, if you are preparing it from before, if you are a new entrant to this process, then you will of course have to start with NCERTs and your newspaper, and then you will move towards the basic books, and then you can move towards the mains preparation, right? That process you will have to go. What used to be a process of 1.5 years has now extended to 2 years now, right? Even the current affairs section, they are asking from 2 years back, right? So this becomes really important for you to have a good understanding. Okay, if you are starting today, if you are a new student here, you will have to focus on areas that are very basic. So NCERTs have to be done well, right? Like people would be saying, okay, now the main syllabus are not being asked, right? The static portion has not been asked, but any dynamic portion that you are going to focus on, especially in the next few years, is going to be informed by the static portion, right? So first start with NCERTs, build a good base, and then go move towards the mains element. But if you have given this exam, especially at least you have given one prelims also, right? Or you were seriously preparing it for the last at least a year, right? What you can do? So there now you will have to focus on a few things, because I am guessing if you would have even prepared seriously for 1 year, you would have a good understanding of basics, such as, say for example, our NCERT portions. You would have gotten into the habit of newspaper reading and notes making. If not, it is time to start right now itself, right? It becomes really important. But if you look at the other aspects, what you will see is, here in this case, in the first few months just after the prelims, so we are talking about from June to September, go back to all your basic sources and revise them as well as possible. See where are your strengths, where are your weaknesses, do a proper SWOT analysis, right? And then see if there are strengths that are having small chinks, first strengthen your strengths, right? And then go towards the weaknesses and then give it a proper time, right? Now, how would you do that? So say for example, one of your optionals is history, just a hypothetical example. So see if you were able to at least attempt 70 to 75% of the questions from the prelims. If you are able to do that, then it means that your history preparations are going well. If not, that even after you are having your optional as history, or say for example geography, or say for example economics, or any of the main subject optionals, and if you are not able to do any of these parts, then it becomes really important that you first focus on your optional, because now four areas become really crucial for overall preparation of your paper of this exam. Which are these areas? So we have already talked about CSAT, and we have already talked about the newspaper and the PIB, right? We have already talked about the fusing of static and dynamic. But if you look at the overall orientation, especially if you have to get a good rank, because if you do not, you will have to give the exam again, and many people do. Unfortunately, UPSC is now putting a break on that also, right? So it becomes a really important aspect for you. Now, what you are going to do is you will have to focus on four important things. The two papers of your optionals, they become really crucial for your ranking. Then GS paper 4, that is ethics, philosophy, aptitude, becomes a really important paper for you, right? Even more important than, say for example, other three papers, right? So it becomes really important, and the essay part, right, becomes really important. Now, if you are able to get good hold of these four papers, they will give you, or they will ensure you a lot of confidence that you are getting a good rank if you are able to write the mains, right? When you are able to go to the main section. Okay. The next aspect is that whenever you are talking about the prelims part, you will have to focus. Say for example, we generally say that you should complete your main syllabus by December. But now I would suggest, in my humble opinion, that your mains preparation should move forward even after December, right? Why I am saying so is because prelims in itself is incorporating a lot of ideas from mains, right? Now, you will have to start your prelims specific preparation also from January, but you will have to incorporate mains elements out of it. So you will have to, at least say for example, if you are studying 8 hours, so 2 to 3 hours after even the start of the next year, also you will have to give to mains portion, right? At least till February. From March onwards, or March at least, March, April and May, you will have to give it dedicatedly to prelims. But mains is now becoming so important, and main specific knowledge is becoming so important, that you will have to stretch it to even January, in some cases even February, right? So it becomes really important that mains oriented study becomes the core part of your syllabus, or core part of your preparation, right? This is a suggestion. Of course, it is different for different people. Different people have different strategies, that might have worked for them. This is a suggestion that if you are focusing on mains, there is a good chance that your preparation are going well for prelims also, especially if you are fusing together static and dynamic portion, and especially if you are able to bring together the factual elements from the dynamic portion, the current affairs portion. All right. So this was a basic idea. So if you are looking at, say for example, the foundation portion, right? So if you are looking at the first 3-4 months, right, what you are going to focus on is the NCERT portions, right? What you are going to focus on is the NCERT, the standard books, and you will have to start integrating current affairs, right, in your notes, right? Next, as you are completing your NCERTs, you must have revision ready notes, because you cannot go back to the NCERT books again and again and start from zero, right? So you will start making revision notes. Next is, you should start your optional subjects now, right? Because some optional subjects are people able to do in just a few months, right? But some subjects might take a bit longer, right? And especially if these are the subjects that you are studying for the first time, they might take a bit longer. So you will have to start option subjects in the first 4 months itself, right? Do take a good time, to finally decide on the option subject. If I can suggest you, if you are completely new, right, so either go for your graduation or post graduation subject, if you are good at it, and if you have taken a subject in graduation that you are very comfortable with, right? That will help you with the time frame of when you are able to complete your syllabus. But if not, go for those subjects that you can, that you are able to understand, that you are interested in, right? That you are able to read even through those times when you are really tired, right? And for those subjects for you, for which you are having good help about, right? You have some mentorship, some good materials that are available in the market, right? Or at least you can join a good coaching for those papers, right? So optional become really important. GS and GS paper 4 and essay becomes really important. Now you will have to start it in the first 4 months itself. Next, as you are moving towards the building up phase of the preparation, here what you are going to do is, now you will have to start answer writing practice, both in GS as well as for your option. Now answer writing is not just here because of course your mains option, preparation demands it, but also because as you are writing your answer, your thoughts are getting clarified, right? You will have a much more deeper analysis of these particular topics, right? So generally speaking, when we are starting our answer writing practice, we are starting when we feel confident in a particular topic or a particular subject. But now answer writing in itself becomes really important just to build depth of your topics, right? Next is the core subjects. You will have to focus on the core subjects in much more depth, right? Say for example, polity section is there. You will have to take a good look at bare acts now. You cannot just go by the reference books. So you will have to take a good look at the bare acts, especially those areas that have been neglected for some time, right? So generally UPSC used to ask from particular areas of the syllabus, right, of the constitution. Now it has gone to the last portion of the syllabus in the prelims, right? So they are also looking at the gaps. They are also trying to look at those areas that most people are missing, right? So you are expected to go into much more depth, especially for your core subjects, right? Next is, in case of general studies answer writing, you will have to, especially when you are making your notes as well as from when you are answering, put in multi-dimensional portion in your normal answers also now, right? It is showing that UPSC has totally focused towards multi-dimensional approach, critical thinking approach, because every single question, every single difficult question was in some way or the other incorporating different parts of the syllabus, right? So in your mains answer, now multi-dimensional approach becomes the core part of your answer, right? And lastly, current affairs is now not, is, or at least it cannot be done just through other people's help, right? You will have to make your own notes, and you will have to make analytical notes as well as factual notes, right? So in the same page you will have to divide prelims or the portion that is, say for example, much more factual, and the conceptual element, even though these are some of the topics that you generally are associating with mains. Even from them there will be some elements that are with respect to the factual elements of the syllabus, right? So in the depth phase of your preparation, you will have to focus on both static as well as dynamic part, the factual as well as analytical part. All right. Now, as we are moving towards the last phase, the revision phase, the practice phase of the paper, now you will have to again give mocks, but not just prelims also. You will have to keep on preparing for your mains at least for a while now, especially if for those people who are new to the course, right, who have not prepared for your mains. I would suggest that go at least and give some more time to the mains preparation now, right? Now in this case, of course, prelims preparation will start, right, from January itself, but you will have to take what? So you will have to take mock test in case of prelims also. And I would suggest, if you are able to complete your good portion of the syllabus, you should also keep on taking some of the mains GS full length mock test also. So in all of these ways, you are trying to incorporate what UPSC is trying to expect out of you, right? So you are basically trying to reverse engineer the UPSC's expectation out of a prelims paper, right? Next, by March, you should start revising high yielding topics. Again, there your not just your prelims notes will help you, but also your mains notes are going to help you. So both your factual as well as the analytical elements are going to be studied now. Generally speaking, especially with respect to environment, there are some subjects, not just environment, but there are some subjects where we generally used to focus on the factual element more and only a little bit on the analytical element. Now you will have to make the preparation almost in a combined manner, right? So in this case also, the high yielding topic becomes both the factual as well as analytical, right? Next, as you are writing your mains answer writing portion is going on, you should try and look at the gaps where you think that, okay, I know this particular area much more in depth, you have good multidisciplinary understanding out of it, but do you think you have some factual elements missing there, right? So even when you are doing your mains answer writing practice, see where are the parts that are missing in your preparation, right? There is a good possibility that those are the parts that UPSCs might ask you in the next exam, right? And lastly, of course, we suggest it to every particular person, but very few people are doing it diligently. But analyze every mock and very thoroughly. Either it is prelims or mains, you should analyze every mock like your life depends on it, like your attempt depends on it, right? It is very important because only that will give you a knowledge. Okay, this I can focus on more, right? These are my strengths now. These are the, like, this will also help you when you are attempting the paper, right? When you know or when you have confidence, okay, this is one portion I am very confident about, so you will be able to attempt that particular question very well, right? And if you do not have a good understanding about a particular paper or a subject or a topic, then you can leave those questions, right? In this particular prelims also, there is a good possibility that people who have left a lot of people a lot of questions, especially at least 10 to 15 questions, were completely out of the blue, right? So those people who would have left a lot of questions, at least 10 to 15 questions, they would have been in a good footing, right? So this becomes really important for you that you have a well-rounded preparation, a well calibrated preparation, especially according to the changing pattern, right? So lastly, as we see that consistency is the most important principle here, and it is the consistency that is going to help you in every single way. Whenever we are talking about any part of our syllabus, it is not just that we are only focusing on, okay, what we have done this year or this month or this week. We will have to do it every week, every day, every month, and especially till the next year, right? So consistency becomes really important in all of these phases. All right. So now for your preparation, Drishti has brought about a new session sale of 50%, right? For all our courses and all our live online courses on in UPSC, PCS, teaching exam, judiciary, SSC and CUT exams, right? In that regard, if you want to have any information, you can call on 87501 87501. In case you are looking for IAS GS foundation course, right, you can avail it in just 55,000 rupees, right? And you are going to get a lot of things. So these will be in live online mode. These will be the classes taken in live online mode, and you are going to get structured classes with respect to module wise, subject wise classes, notes, books, right? And you will have 24 mains tests along with evaluation, prelims test series for 3 years and current affairs classes for 3 years. This is a very well-rounded and well thought out program if you are looking for IAS GS foundation course. All right. Again, there is also 50% discount that is going on there. Next, if you are looking for any of the mains courses in any of the optional classes or mains courses, there also you can avail this 50% discount. Again, if you are looking for any information there, these will be provided by the people. If you can call on 87501 87501. All right. So that is all from us. Thank you so much. Wish you all the very best. This is Lalit Kishore Chaudhary signing off. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.